What's up guys, Lukey here from the GSUF clan, and it feels like it's been an absolute age since I've spoken to you guys. I mean, I have been letting Stu do most of the commentaries and getting a few of the other guys in the clan involved recently, and so I've trying to have taken a back seat and done most of the recording, but as you guys know, Stu has now got his Elgato, so he should be posting a lot of videos as well. So I can literally concentrate back on myself now. So now today, the first video that I am going to bring out to you guys, don't worry about the gameplay in the background. I've just thrown it on there for something to basically just add to my video, add to my my channel video or whatever. I've basically just put it there in the background so I can talk over the top of it. Now today, and I know this is a bit of a, I'm probably really late, and I'm probably not the first person that you've spoken about this with, but I'm going to talk about the PS4 versus the Xbox One. Now, one of the things that I've been hearing around is that people have already written off Xbox One, mainly because of the fact that the first thing that they came out with, and the only thing they seem to natter on about at the latest conference, is this involving your whole entertainment system in one box, and putting the emphasis on the TV and the stuff to do with all that sort of stuff, and Skype and all this bits, and they kind of left out the gamers part, whereas PS4 completely turned around and said this is the gaming PC for the gamers, and this is what we're solidly trying to work on, is all the gaming aspects of everything. Now, I don't know if anyone's actually sat back and thought to themselves, well, that was their first conference, both of them, on this new console which they're bringing out. Now, did anyone actually think that maybe Xbox watched PS4's conference and sat back and said, right, well, they've come out and they've gone down the gaming route. Now, should we go out and try and compete with them in the gaming route, or should we maybe take another approach and possibly list some of the other fantastic things or great things that our system can do, and then in E3 come more out with the game sort of stuff, whereas and in that way they are not directly competing with PS4, but they're bringing a new approach, so they're getting a different customer, they're getting a different type of person. Whereas, and then maybe in E3, you might see PlayStation come out more about its cloud and more about the Skype stuff as well to do with that. Other things are, like especially like with the Kinect 2, we haven't heard much about PlayStation's Eye. Now, this is probably obviously something that they've held back, that they're gonna reveal in E3. Now, I'm quite looking forward to that, because to be fair to you and to be fair to everyone, everyone's bitching about or moaning about, oh, the bloke saying Xboxone, or it's just, you know, it just sounds corny. But to be fair to you, any gamer out there who's a proper gamer, who's a geek, and they would have found that absolutely fantastic, they would have found that brilliant, they'd have thought that was the most awesome thing since sliced bread. Now, I personally thought, on the demonstration, I thought it was fantastic. I've been PS3, I've always been PS3, I've always been PlayStation, but from that viewing of that conference, I was debating what I wanted to do, really, and I was debating for once actually whether getting both of the consoles, simply just to have the best of both worlds. And then I had this thought, obviously, as well, is that they're probably doing the opposites to each other. Like, one's showing the entertainment side, and then one's showing the gaming side, and then in E3, one will show the gaming side, and one will show the entertainment side. But anyway, back to the Eye. Now, we have not seen anything on that, but we do know that the Kinect 2 is a 1080p camera, which looks and sounds pretty hot. PS4 have basically come out and said that they've got a 1080 times 800p camera or something along those lines. So I think it will be pretty similar, but at the end of the day, I feel Xbox will probably have the edge over them, simply because I think Xbox went more down that route with the original Xboxes or Xbox 360, sorry, whereas PlayStation bought out the PlayStation Move, and I mean, I don't know anyone who bought it, but a lot of people possibly bought it, and they probably played a few games and then got bored of it. And I know a lot of people actually use the Kinect stuff for fitness and stuff like that, so all types of stuff. And so it depends really. It'd be nice to see what ideas they've come out with, both of them, in a bit more detail. The other obvious differences are the fact that Xbox, which has been talked about, are only using a DDR3 RAM. Now, that is basically, that limits them. What that means is it basically limits them to technologies around this age, whereas the PS4, which uses GDDR5 RAM, it means that they have the advantage over Xbox for the future. Now, the last consoles, I'm not quite sure, but they was out for a good several years. So what we could find is possibly Xbox and PS4 being on the same level for basically the majority of the next few years, and then PS4 slightly going ahead of them, I think, on terms of graphics. And when PlayStation 4 mean the sky is the limit of what they can do and the capabilities of what they can do, I can totally agree with them now. But with Xbox, I don't feel the same. Sorry about that, guys. Now, with the processors, I understand they have practically identical chips that used the RAM and the GDDR RAM slightly different from one another, and apparently I think the PS4 chip is basically about 10% better, 10% quicker, and so it's just it's a simple way of Xbox, PS4 doing and Sony doing their own thing again, and creating this extra part that they like to do, like with their program for the PS3, etc., having to go to their own personal thing for some reason, and hence why PS3 users and stuff got loads of things later than Xbox, simply because their code was so Sony, should I say. What else could I talk about? The controllers. I understand that the new Xbox controller no longer has the extended or pull-out batteries on the end of the controllers, which I've heard is a lot of pluses. I haven't personally used the Xbox very much, but I can see that as being a very heavy pull-down when you're actually holding the controller in itself. I see that they've put possibly the buttons a bit closer together as well, maybe on the controller, which will make it better for me as well, because when you play, it's like when you play something so regularly and you move to the next thing, it's very hard to adapt at first. So I've been so used to PlayStation controllers over the years. I barely ever used the Xbox, so I've probably had experience with Xbox, say 20-30 times in my life. So it takes me a good few games to get in and actually be able to use a controller, whereas the PS4 or PS3, sorry, I just pick up the controller and it's absolutely natural for me. And that's pretty much really all that they've done. Really, is they've done a little bit of a redesign on the controller. It looks a lot slimmer actually than previous versions. Obviously, one factor being the big battery pack on the back of it isn't there anymore, but that's inbuilt. Now the PS4 controller, I think beats the Xbox One hands down, really. Simply because of that button on there, which is the share button. Now, especially for guys like me and Stu and stuff like that, if we're able to click a button to stream to the world in seconds, that will help me and Stu out so much. Simply because we won't have to worry about like whether it's going to cut out and stuff like that, you know. Also the touchscreen on the actual pad, and like the headphone socket on the pad. Now these are all great ideas. Whether they're practical or not, you never know. But like headphones on the thing and special sounds to come out the pad instead of coming out of the TV. And now this is where PS4 came into its own, where it surpasses the Xbox controller. Simply because of those facts, you know, different sounds coming out the controller than that out the TV. It gives it another element, another dimension to a game, and I think Xbox missed the trick. Whether they've got that, they might have it. You never know, but they didn't go into too much details on any extra specs on the controllers themselves. PlayStation have seemed to have stuck to a similar design. They look a little bit bulkier, maybe. But overall, it all looks like a great upgrade. Now, obviously, we haven't seen the PS4 box. Now, the Xbox One pretty much looks like, to me, looks like either like an old VCR or like a NAS box or something like that. You know, it just looks like a Skybox or something along those lines, cable box for you American guys. And that's all good. It will fit in with the rest of my stuff quite neatly. But I was expecting maybe a bit more of a wackier design, you know. The weird shape of the old Xbox was quite cool, and so instead of it just being just a regular rectangle or square, whatever you want to call it, yeah, so that's simply what they've gone for. So yeah, so they could have been a bit more imaginative maybe on that. Where as I've yet to see the PS4, but I've seen the glimpses of it, which are blurred out, and it simply basically looks like the same fucking thing, really. Except a few fans on the side and around the outside and stuff like that, and maybe PS4 is going to bring out a few flashy lights, because they like to put a flashing light or an attachment for a flashy light on a PS3 or PS4. So I'm sure there'll be some sort of cool feature on there. So I'm looking forward to E3, really. Now, as for the games, which they showed in their conferences, I think Sony kind of went more along the edge of showing new type of games, you know. So things like Destiny and that racing game, the one where you can put a team together and race across the world and all that stuff, which looks absolutely awesome, and the street game or whatever it is, the Watch or something like that. I can't remember what it is now off the top of my head. They look like absolutely awesome games, whereas Xbox decided to go with the fans' favourites and only show a few. So, but if you look at the graphics from this generation to the next generation, my God, does it look absolutely awesome. I cannot wait to be able to use this stuff. Simply because of the fact of the small factor of the fact that when you was looking at the arm on the new Call of Duty for one of the new characters, you could see the hairs on his arms, the bruises, the cuts. The dog features were amazing, and I'm guessing that they're gonna look exactly the same on the PS4, really.